Good. Thank you, everybody, and welcome to the Friday support call. I'd like to introduce Wai-Hin just briefly. And I like what you wrote, Wei. You said that the Sedona Method found you 17 years ago during a pre and post, a post and pre and postpartum crisis, and that you've been using the method since then, and you use it as a coach. And Wei, I'd like to just go ahead and allow you to take over the call, and I thank you for being our host this week.
Oh, amazing. I'm just so, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you all for making the time. I think we can just jump right in and see if there's anything that is in the room that you got pulled in to join this space. In terms of my approach, I very much see myself as a vessel. We're all in it together. We're all in this beautiful space together. You know, and if there's nothing, I can go ahead and start with a meditation, but I also want to be very mindful of everybody's time. So if there's something that puts you in that you wanted help with, you know, Laurel, hi, go for it.
Hey, Wei. Well, I was definitely prompted to join to be here with you after meeting you in person at my Hills retreats several years ago, and just love your space. And so I wanted to just be here with you. But I've just had this like physical sensation yesterday evening. Just started with this headache and like neck pain and shoulder pain, and just my body. I just feel I'm like, man, I have fun plans tonight, and I'm just feeling kind of yuck. And I know, medical disclaimer, you're not a doctor and all those things, but I just love using the method on the body, and just anything around that would just be tremendously grateful for that. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just check the room. Is that resonating with anybody else? Just show me, put up your hand if it does, and I'll do a group release. Otherwise, okay. So if the body thing doesn't resonate with you, I'm going to ask you to just be in a space and, you know, hold space for everybody else as we usually do, right? And I will go and do a general release with everybody. But Laurel, if you could first give us some pointers around your body sensations and this issue. You know, if you had to write a headline for the story, what would it be?
Dull pain in the right eye and tightness in the neck and shoulders, and wanting to crawl back into bed.
Okay, and so take this moment, everybody, and just sort of sit back and just be aware. Let's just start with where we're at. Just notice where your body's at. You know, and as Laura was describing the sensation she's feeling, see if you have any in your body that's coming up for attention. And just notice it for now. And then notice your body position to your environment. Are you sitting in a chair? Some of you are sitting. Those of you I don't see, are you lying down? Are you standing? Just notice. In addition to the sensations you have in your body, what other sensations are present? And just notice them. And along with that, notice if there are any thoughts that are coming up. Notice any wanting to label them. Notice how there's a wanting attachment and meaning, but there might also be a wanting to push it away or do something about it. And if you could just sit with that. And just notice what happens to those sensations that you had or are having. And then again, just see if you can notice what's around you, what you're sitting on, what you're lying on. What's your body position to your environment? And just notice. And if you could, just look through what you're sensing, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. See if you can focus on something beyond that. And if you could go deeper, notice what's there. Even deeper. And even more. That's okay. If you notice any reluctance, resistance, any fighting, any thoughts that you can't do this or you can't let go, that's okay. Just notice them for a moment. And in this space, what's in your body now? What are you sensing? Where are you sensing these sensations? Could you just allow them to be there? And as you're noticing these sensations and these feelings, and maybe even some thoughts and some stories, see if you can connect to a wanting that might be there. Notice, is there any wanting control? Any wanting approval? Any wanting oneness or security? And whatever that comes up, notice how it just comes up. And if you could, would you let it go? And when? Beautiful. Beautiful. Great. Check in again. What is here in this moment? If there are any residual uncomfortable sensations, any tension, any contraction, whatever you want to call them in your body, you know, those things that you just don't like, a headache, feeling behind the eye, tension in the shoulders, gripping in the tummy, indigestion, whatever you want to call it. Could you just feel it for a moment? Welcome any stories, any wanting to do anything about it. Just notice that. And notice if there's any wanting control, any wanting approval, any wanting security, any wanting oneness. And just notice how the wanting just comes up. It's there. If you could, Would you let it go? When? Very nice. Okay. Let's see what's here now for everybody else. Laurel, how was that for you? And Josh, how was that for you? We'll take Laurel first.
Thank you, Wei. I really enjoyed the diving into the sensation. I've usually used that for emotion, so sensation was interesting, and I felt the most relief, like expansiveness, and just like the spaciousness from doing that. I mean, there's still some residual, but I definitely feel some relief. Some things definitely let go. So,
Okay.
so thank you.
With the residualness, and if anybody else has any residual thoughts, okay, are they welcome here?
Yes.
Are you those residual feelings?
No.
And if you took a moment and just went into that space, if you look through all of that, what is there?
Spaciousness.
Is that welcome here?
Mm-hmm.
Would you allow yourself to rest in the spaciousness?
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Anybody else with anything related to that release? Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, that was great. I was actually going to ask for assistance on something else.
Okay, go for it.
There's a release in the super course, like releasing like the I can't and lust. And I don't know, I was just going through some of those releases and that really like stuck with me. And I'm kind of hung up on that side of lust, like the I can't. Like it feels like if I go after what I want or do what I want, there's that like, oh, something's going to go wrong or something bad's going to happen. Or yeah, I was listening to that release this morning, and there's still some stuff there.
Okay. Let's use words as pointers to help again define that. So what is it that you want? What is it that you're afraid to chase?
It's nothing specific in general. It's just like, I mean, even like when it comes to living or enjoying things, there's like, I can't. Like there's that sense of something will go wrong.
Okay, you can't enjoy living and going after what you want?
As a general sense, yes.
Okay. In this moment, where is that general sense sitting? Where are you feeling that?
It kind of feels like it's everywhere.
Everywhere. Okay. Could you let it be here for me? It's here already, but could you allow yourself to feel it?
Yeah.
Really feel it.
Yeah.
Feel it some more.
Yeah.
Full on, 100%. 100% lust. Let it be, right? It's here anyways. So feel it right on.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Just really pay attention. See what's around you, what's in you, what are the sensations.
Yeah, I'm in touch with the sensation of it.
And
I'm trying not to label it.
amazing.
I do.
That's it. And feel those sensations some more. Just notice what is happening to them. Because they were general, right? Like they were all over. And beautiful. No need to label. And just keep feeling them. We're just going to be with your sensations
Yeah,
for a little while.
feels like it's in the pit of my stomach.
Great. Feel it some more, whatever that sensation is. And I love that you are not labeling it, right? Let's be with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's happening now?
It feels like I'm going deeper into it, and it's
Mhm.
getting lighter at the same time.
Is being, sorry, I missed that.
It feels like I'm going deeper into it, and it's getting lighter at the same time.
Okay.
I'm just feeling it fully.
Great. It might get lighter, it might get heavier, it might get deeper, you know, so whatever it is, just let's be with it.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate, I have to say again, I really appreciate, and this is really for everybody else as well, I really appreciate not labeling it. Okay. Back in your body, what's there now, Josh?
I don't know. Now it feels like there's something in my throat.
Hey, is that allowed to be there?
Yeah.
Okay. Just feel it. Just a lot of bubbles. There's a lot of releasing happening here, Josh.
Yeah, it just feels like it's
Movement, at least, right? There's,
it's coming up to go out.
yeah. And are you still okay to be with these sensations?
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it's in my stomach anymore now. It feels like it's in my throat, but it just feels like there's a little left.
Okay. The little bit that's left there, is that okay to be there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any wanting to hold on to it?
No.
Let's just check back in with that story around the lust and I can't and it getting in the way of you living a fully embraced life. What's there now in that story?
I don't know. I'm trying not to go back into the story. I'm just trying to.
Okay. Was
Yeah.
there any pushing away of that story? Is there any resistance to the story?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. What would you like to do with that resistance, Josh?
Let it go.
Will you let it go?
Yeah.
When?
Right now.
Great.
Yeah, that feels a lot better.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Beautiful. Who else? It's such a beautiful space, you people. If you happen to be really shy and you're not comfortable putting your hand up, feel free to send me a chat if you have a question or if you have a request for assistance. Because I get that too, right? Sometimes it's just really hard to put your hand up and to ask your question or to say something. So you're welcome to do that. Miss Beth, go ahead, please. I can't hear you.
No, I muted myself. Hi.
Hi, so nice to see you.
So, thank you for these wonderful releases. I feel really good. I cannot even find one sensation that is disturbing anywhere. So, but then there's the mind coming in and it says, yes, no, of course, you won a tennis game. You had a wonderful session today and you saw your son that you really wanted to see. So there's, so all these things are okay. But, if you don't have these things that make you feel okay, then there will be sensations, there will be fears, there will be this, there will be that. And that's like something that's like, it's not that I'm not feeling grateful now, because I really do really feel grateful. But there's like and also I think Josh said something like that. There's like, in the future, for instance, if I don't hear anything from my son for 2 weeks, it doesn't matter how wonderful my life is, how healthy I am, how much energy I have, I feel miserable. And well, I thought to mention that because it's something like he always says, are you preparing for, the anticipating on the next terrible thing to happen? And yes, it's like,
yeah. So welcome to being a human being.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So are you preparing for something terrible to happen?
So, okay, not right now, but I'm preparing to prepare for something.
Oh, wow. And could you even prepare for something terrible to happen? You could do that too. Right? Right? So, exactly. So, in this moment, though, what is really here for you around this story, around this preparation? What is your headliner?
Yeah, the story is my son has autism and he will always need me. And how will I be able to peacefully die? That's the headline. Not that I'm preparing to die, even really soon, but that's, something like I will be needed always. So how can I let go? That's a story.
Ooh. It is a story. It's a good one, Lisbeth.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you read this story, right? What's the next story you're gonna what's this another version of this theme you could welcome?
Another version. Another version would be that he's really capable of doing many things himself, and that he has also angels around him that always make him, that other people will, or if he needs help, that it's always there, something like that. That's the other story.
Mhm. Right.
It's what you
And
mean, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of storytelling,
Yeah.
what I'm noticing, and I'm just going to notice this as a pointer, and then we'll do a release on it. Okay. What I noticed in the two stories is that you were very much needed in the first version, and you had a really hard time of letting go of your being needed.
Yeah.
In the second version, he's fully capable.
Yeah.
And you completely removed yourself from there.
Yeah.
You're not even a character. You didn't even say, something like, he has angels and I'm one of the angels, right? Like you completely removed yourself from there.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, just for this moment, if you could take those two stories and then just contrast them, and what would be the middle ground for you? What is the most feasible, possible middle ground?
To surrender it to something greater.
Okay. And in this moment, the idea of surrendering both sides of the story, both versions of the stories, if you could surrender it in this moment, what comes up for you? Okay, whatever comes up, I want you to see if you can feel into the sensations. Any heart palpitations, any chest tightness, any sense of contraction, any sense of opening in your body. Just notice all of those sensations.
Yeah, I'll start sweating and a little bit, my heart goes a little bit.
Yes.
Fear. Fear.
Okay. And notice how that fear came up. It happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the same as the story and needing to prepare. It happens.
Yes.
It comes up.
It's the pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's already disappearing. It's like
okay.
Now there's more a feeling of that I'm so happy to be here. That that you help me with this. I mean, I'm really grateful because I feel something opening.
Okay.
That will not open when I'm not sharing it. Yeah.
Right.
I feel very grateful.
And could you rest in that surrender, in that openness? Yeah. And could you allow yourself to come back to the surrender and to that openness whenever you have that story happening again?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good.
Wonderful.
Imprint it in my computer.
Oh, well, yes. And the story, it's gonna come up because that's the pattern, right? And as a mom, you have major concerns for your son. He has special needs, so it's all valid, right? And the concern is there. But in a moment, how do you give yourself comfort? How do you can't even allow yourself to think about the possibilities of dying in dignity when you feel such a strong heaviness and attachment to the story.
Yeah.
Right? So coming into this middle, into this spaciousness, and all it is what is the opposite of the story?
Yes.
What's the middle ground? And a sense of surrendering that, you identified yourself, a sense of surrendering. Could you welcome that surrender? What would that surrender feel like? Amazing.
Yeah, I feel a lot of trust. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very
present. That's a beautiful present you gave. Thank you.
Well, Elizabeth, that is such a it's such an honor to have such a vulnerable share in this space, and I think this is why I really appreciate this community. Right? There is a lot of love in this space, and there's a lot of trust. And it doesn't mean the ugly is not welcome, or the tightness or everything else, doesn't happen. Of course it happens. But there's that middle ground that we can take always.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Almanac, I think I said your name right. If you could come online and just maybe help me with the pronunciation of your name.
Yeah, that's perfect. Almanac.
Amazing.
Hi. Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's here for you?
Well, what actually came up while I was listening to the last release that we were doing was I just took the facilitator training course, and I asked how one day, please, okay, I'll see you. Okay. I asked Hal one day about he brought up the idea of a want for living or for survival or for keeping the mind body alive was actually showing a want for death. And so it really and I asked him at that time if he would do a release over death itself, just to hear what that would be like. And that just came with listening to the last release that you were doing. And so I was just curious if you could share your opinion or your understandings about that.
Well, my opinion and my understanding does not matter. That's the beautiful thing, right? There's quite a few of us online today. There's 11 of us, and 11 of us are all going to have a different perspective. But how about we do a release around life and death?
Okay.
And if anyone here feels triggered by that, just put your hand up. I'm going to ask you to just let me know if there's a vulnerability in this, and if there is. One hand over your heart, another hand over your heart, one over the other. Okay? And just feel. Okay? Because talking about death is really tender. It brings up a lot of stories. So feel your heart, okay? And at any point when I'm taking you through the release, you feel scared, terrified, triggered, focus on your hands and focus on how your hand is feeling your heartbeat. The heartbeat is a reassurance that your heart is beating and that you are alive. Okay. Just going to give you a moment to settle into whatever body position is comfortable for you. Beautiful. And on the subject of death, take a moment and just connect to the topic, the story, the feelings, whatever that comes up when you hear the word death. And specifically, I don't want to die. I want to die. I want to live. I don't want to live. If there are any memories of beloveds who have passed on, connect to that. If there are any fears of losing your beloveds in any form, connect to that. And just notice. Notice what is here for you now. Check in with the sensations in your body. Check in with any thoughts, any feelings that come up, and just notice them. And go back to your body. What sensations are there related to this topic of death? Whatever you're feeling, just notice. And as you're noticing that, what comes up for you? Is there any wanting freedom? Any wanting control? Any wanting security? Wanting love? Or any other wants that your brilliant mind has come up with? Could you welcome it? And if you could, would you let it go? Beautiful. There's a lot of releases. There's a little bit more openness. In that openness, let's revisit death again. And however you feel about it, whatever you think about it, whatever stories you've heard about it, that it's terrible or that it's freedom, that you can't control it, that you can control it. Could you welcome those thoughts, those stories, those feelings and beliefs? And notice how personal it all feels, that you or I would die. Just for a moment, what if there isn't a you and there isn't a me that is going to die? Could you welcome that? Just for a moment. What if you are beyond death and therefore beyond living? Could you allow yourself to just peek into that possibility? And peek at it a little bit more. Okay, if your mind is holding you back, if there's resistance, just be in touch with that as well. Is the resistance allowed? Let's try it again. What if for just a moment you are beyond death, beyond living the way you know living is. Could you welcome that? Go a little bit more. Could you welcome that? Yeah, a bit more. Could you welcome that? Wow, beautiful. Will you allow yourself to rest in that? And know at any moment you can access this freedom. How's that, Almanac? Anyone else?
Really good. Yeah, the more we leaned into that, the more it was hard for me to relate to the fear of death. I think I would be more scared of like being like hurt at the end, like be like crushed in a rock or something weird like that. Like, but like the actual fear of death and letting go, like just didn't. It doesn't resonate with me as like an issue, but like it just really caught my attention when it was mentioned in the training, because I have spent a lot of time like not worrying about the body, but like trying to find full ways to make it function, so to speak. So I was just like a little
Right.
perplexed, but
so towards the end there, around seeing yourself beyond the body, did that open up anything for you at all?
yeah, when I hear fifth way ish speaking, like it seems very easy for me to just fall into that.
Okay, so if that is a route that's fairly easy for you to access, you mentioned that you're no longer afraid, you don't really feel fear for death, but it's more the pain, right?
Yeah.
Could you, as I'm saying that and repeating that for you, could you hear the identification with the body that comes through with that, right? And so could you welcome your identification with the body? That you are the body, that you would feel pain.
No, I feel resistant. That.
Okay, resistant too?
Yeah.
Okay, could you welcome that resistance? This is beautiful. Beautiful. Could you welcome that resistance? Whatever the resistance is for, right? Because sometimes it's resistance to the idea that I'm the body, and sometimes it's also the resistance that, I am not the body.
Yes.
Is that resistance welcome?
Yeah.
It's already released, but I feel like for the sake of this call, I have to ask you, could you let it go?
Maybe.
What's there now? Is there any of the resistance, or did it transmute into something else?
I feel the relief of it. However, I kind of feel like there's like a regurgitation of the story still trying to hold on.
Yeah. And if you want the body, and if you want the mind, and if you want the perfect human being who has learned to take very good care of the body, would you have that resistance? Would you have that story?
I don't know. But I did feel quite a relief just from hearing that question.
Excellent. And that's it. Are you the body, right? I just had to ask it. It's part of the Sedona method. The question is, are you the body? I just had to ask it a different way because I'm speaking, like trying to access your mind. And you said that you're doing the facilitator training, and sometimes that's really helpful, like to take the question and pay sort of attention to intuitively, how is the question wanting to be asked?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Is that good for you? Do you feel complete?
Yeah, I do. I feel beyond complete. Thank you so much.
Wow, beyond complete. I love it. All right, Kim, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just loving this call and the releases, and then this last with Almanac. That release was just so beautiful. I felt inspired to raise my hand. So we're coming on the anniversary of one of my ancestors passing. And that release, I was just noticing, there was just so much love for my grandparents, right? And all their, including all the parts of their personhood that I used to reject or judge or something like that, but I was just like, really like, really just loving all of them. It's kind of hard to talk about in words. I can tell just even talking about it, it gets a little funky, but that this still awareness of like, personhood, having conversations with my parents about death and dying and, the things that, they're in their 80s. And so this is a topic and planning for, all these things that are actually helpful for the personhood to do for people who are coming afterwards, right? And so this feeling of ancestry and the love that was there, the courage to have these brave conversations now with people who are living that have health conditions. I just was wondering if you could do a release on just maybe combining a couple things, surrendering it all over, meeting it with love, the sense of personhood and what's beyond personhood.
Okay.
I feel really good. I mean, it's kind of weird. I mean, I
No, you
feel
do.
really, I don't feel stuck,
Yeah.
but I just
Okay,
feel
stop,
like
stop.
a
No,
calling.
stop, Kim,
Yeah.
stop. I see I'm gonna blurt because you're also caught. I'm gonna blurt. I see the trying to make sense of it. And I see the need. I see the need to ask for something to happen. Okay, there's a planning, there's a personhood.
Yes.
And there's a bit of a disconnect between the open space that you had mentioned, the difficulty to find the words to describe it, and then there's the head. So let's feel the spaciousness. Feel the spaciousness. I think this might be helpful for anybody. And I'm recognizing the time. If you need to go, I wouldn't be offended. And Stephen, are you? Yeah. Like honestly, like if anybody needs to pop out, I know your time is precious. I've just been so incredibly. I don't know. I feel so loved that you've all showed up. So and with your beautiful energy. So thank you. On this topic with Kim, I'm going to paint a picture that a lot of us actually experience where, we do a release and we feel this expansiveness and then the head comes in, right? And then we have this thing where the personhood is over there, the beingness is over here, but then we kind of, what do we do? So there's this foreground, background that happens. but also the head and body kind of does this. And then the next thing you know, you're like a floating head, or your heart is beating, right? So Kim, you use the perfect word, integration.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
It is integration. Okay. Now we're going to do sort of a dual, non-dual kind of thing. And I'm going to use some of the words that you use, Kim, around peace, how, you started to paint a picture around end of life planning being a necessity. And actually, personally, if anybody ever wants to have an offline discussion about it, I think it's the greatest gift you could give your loved ones, right? The transition planning and witnessing people transitioning is, as a human being, is quite beautiful. So the planning is important, can be helpful, can be a gift of love. Okay? But what's the other side of it? Let's not forget that death is also very painful. It's also very sad. It's the greatest grief, greatest pain that human beings can go through. Even if you lose a parent that you didn't have a great relationship with, or a loved one or a family member that you actually maybe even hated, there's still that residual grief that happens, or the sadness. There's some really deep, heavy emotions that come with it. So could we welcome all of that? Could we welcome the beauty of the end of our earth walk? This meat bag, the bones and the meat finally just being done with this journey that we are on. The freedom that we seek, the spaciousness that we all connect in. Just feel that. Is that welcome here? And then the sadness, the grief, the pain, oh my gosh, the expense of planning all of this, getting the lawyers to do this, getting the paperwork. If that is, you have the privilege of planning it. And if you don't have the privilege of planning it, the suddenness of it all, the shock of it all, the trauma, or maybe the painful, slow thing that you just wait and wait and wait. And what about the living like we're dead that can happen every day? Because we know we do that too. Could we welcome that into this space? Whichever form it shows up in, and however it feels and looks like to you, sounds like to you. In duality, we have the beautiful side of death. We also have the ugly side of death. Is that all welcome here? And are you the body that dies? Are you the body that lives? Are you the body that loves? Are you the body that hates? Are you the mind that has to plan? Are you the mind that chooses to be carefree? Are you the paperwork that has to be done? Are you the person who has to do anything? What if for just a moment you believe that you're beyond the person, beyond all the to-dos, beyond all the dying, the living, the loving, the hating? Just for a moment, could you welcome the possibility that you're beyond that body? Are you? Are you? Are you? Are you? Great. How's that, Kim?
Great. There just is lightness or freedom around this topic. There's a sense of ease.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of liquid water that have no words to go with it. So it's all good. Thank you.
Funny, strange things happen to the body, right?
Definitely.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Great. It's 1:10. I could honestly sit here all afternoon with you beautiful souls, but I should probably let you all go. Be in touch. Find me on Facebook. Anything you need, just let me know. Happy to hold space for any of you at any time. Okay? Any parting words, anything that needs to come into the space before we say bye?
Well, thank you very much, Wei. That's the first thing that comes to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this call is awesome. Thank you.
Anytime. All right. So thank you, everybody. Be gentle with yourselves. Whether we like it or not, we're still in our body minds, and we do have to take care of that. And just remember that that freedom, that love is always accessible. You've took a peek at it many times today, and it is a daily practice, is a moment-to-moment practice for me as well. Thank you so much, and so grateful for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for organizing this, Stephen.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just ending the streaming. I think I'll just go ahead and end the call.
Thank
So,
you.
Oh, okay. All right.
thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay. Bye. Boy, it's just not responding. There we go.